Now, the UN Secretary-General has called on Israel to halt its demolition of the headquarters of its Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Earlier today, Israeli forces began bulldozing the UNRWA compound in occupied East Jerusalem. Israel accuses UNRWA of collaborating with Hamas, which the UN has repeatedly denied. Hamas are considered a terrorist group by the European Union. UNRWA's chief says Israel's actions show a new level of defiance of international law. Jonathan Fowler is Senior Communications Manager for UNRWA. That's the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees in the Near East. Welcome to DW. Can we start with your reaction to this Israeli action?
This is absolutely shocking. It's part of a pattern of disregard for international law that we've seen this over and over, and it's been reaching fever pitch in recent weeks. None of this is in any way acceptable. It's perfectly clear that international legal obligations are incumbent upon any member of the United Nations, any member state of the United Nations, and this is a flagrant violation of that.
Israel has already banned your organisation. Israel says it owns that building anyway, and as I understand it, no UNRWA staff have operated out of that building for almost a year. So why does Israel demolishing it matter?
It matters because it remains a United Nations premises. The assertion that this is somehow owned by the State of Israel is completely false. This is a United Nations premises. It remains a United Nations premises. This is much bigger than UNRWA. This is about international law as it applies to the UN, or indeed an embassy, for example. You know, diplomatic conventions stand. We were forced under duress to leave that compound in January 2025 because of Israeli legislation. That's the reason that we ceased to actually run our operational offices from there. But it has remained a UN compound with UN security guards, indeed, since then. So any assertions that they own the land, there is no basis for this. These assertions are irrelevant. They have no standing whatsoever.
So given that you say Israel's action is in breach of international law, what does UNRWA, what does the UN propose to do about it?
Well, I want to emphasize it's not just me saying this. I mean, this is also the International Court of Justice, the highest court on the planet, which said this repeatedly and reiterated this in October most recently. So this is a slap in the face of the International Court of Justice as well. What can we do about it? I mean, this is where the international community has to step up. International law matters. It's under threat in many places around the world. And what happens to us and what happens to us today in the occupied Palestinian territory can also all too easily happen to other UN organizations in the same place, or indeed around the rest of the world at any moment. We're in a very dangerous period as the UN turns 80 years old. Where we can't allow this to stand. Countries have to wake up to the harsh and dangerous realities.
So we have Gaza devastated in ruins. Now UNRWA's HQ in Jerusalem in the same state. What is your organisation still able to do in the Palestinian territories?
Well, we're the largest UN organization operating inside the Gaza Strip. We have around 12,000 staff. Throughout the war, they've never stopped working. They're delivering healthcare, they're delivering education activities for children, purified water, removing garbage, all of those kind of things. So we continue working in the Gaza Strip. Indeed, we continue working in the West Bank. We're currently assisting 30,000 people who were forcibly displaced 12 months ago from the camps that they were living in the north of the West Bank by Israeli military operations. And we continue to provide education and healthcare for thousands and thousands of others. And indeed, within occupied East Jerusalem, we still have a clinic running which caters to tens of thousands of Palestinian refugees every year, who are amongst the poorest members of the community in that city and have no healthcare alternatives. So we continue to work. These are hurdles which are being placed in front of our work. The International Court of Justice said that the State of Israel is obliged to facilitate our work, not impede it or prevent it, and the contrary is happening, but we could continue to do it.
Thanks for joining us, Jonathan. Jonathan Fowler from UNRWA.